Welcome to Sitting with Sallie. Today I have with me Debra Wingorve, who is an intuitive consultant. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, and we've just been chatting because Debra has lots of things to talk about. So please tell me, what is an intuitive consultant?
An intuitive consultant is a rare bird, unfortunately. I wish there were more around, but what I do is I meet with clients one-on-one, and we start with these beautiful angel cards. The angel cards give me a profile of where you're at. And then we just basically dig into what's holding you back and we clear it. What your dreams are and we attract them. What your daily life experience is and we harmonize it or smooth it out. So it is a way of doing emotional and spiritual counseling.
And you mentioned the angel cards, and we're going to do a reading later, and I'm very excited. But you do many things besides angel cards.
That's right. I'm an intuitive teacher as well and a public speaker, and I talk about a wide variety of topics. And so I basically teach meditation by guided visualization and spiritual development, intuition, past lives, mediumship, life purpose, soulmates, all kinds of topics.
Huge.
And so I teach. I teach most every evening, and I do the readings periodically at the Zen Den. And the readings are a 2-hour process, and often you can't fit it all in 2 hours. It's so exciting once you get into it. They're very spirit-driven, so I certainly don't drive the agenda in any way. And we go wherever the guides take us. Every reading is completely different, and it's a gift for me to engage in that reading, and it's a gift for the client from their guides.
And how did you get into this area? It's like you said, it's unusual. I don't think I've met an intuitive consultant before. So.
Well, when I was a little girl, I was a little bit, I guess, wide-eyed, and I always had questions about the universe, but I was basically what you'd call a normal little girl. But in adulthood, I started thinking, you know, there's got to be more. And around the turn of the century, just before 2000, I really started seeking. But I was seeking very much with my mind. I wanted to know everything, read every book, take every course. And I was very drawn to the work of Doreen Virtue, who lives in California and does angel therapy. And she certifies angel therapy practitioners. And I wanted so badly to go to California and do that with her, but I couldn't afford it at the time. But the universe brought her graduates to my city, and I studied with 2 of her graduates. And in the very first course, they gave me this deck of cards, and we learned how to use them. And I looked at them and I thought, well, they're pretty, but I'll probably never use them. And now I've done 800 readings with this exact deck.
And this is your angel deck.
This is the angel deck. There's many, many decks, but the first exercise she gave us, she said, we're going to channel a message for our partner from Archangel Michael. And I just closed my eyes and started talking, and she said, Debra, have you done this before? And I said, no. She said, well, you have quite a direct relationship with Michael. And so Archangel Michael is one of my primary spirit guides. He stands at my right shoulder in every reading. That doesn't mean he's physically there so that someone would see him, but his essence is there, and I feel him, and he does guide me through every reading.
And you talk about spirit guides, and I understand that everyone has spirit guides.
We all have 2 to 50 guides with us all the time. It can make it feel a little crowded if you think about it.
It's a good thing they aren't all physically with us.
That's right. So one, of course, would be what we call a primary spirit guide or a guardian angel. And when I use the word angel, it doesn't really matter what you think an angel is, because, I mean, I don't think anyone actually knows an angel, right? We just feel them. They've appeared to people in certain forms throughout history, throughout all faith systems. But they're basically light beings without a body who are here to 100% support you. And so when you have a primary spirit guide, it's unconditional love, non-judgment, and 24/7 guidance and protection. But if you're not working with them, they're sitting twiddling their thumbs.
And you say you have 2 primary spirit guides there with you all the time?
Yes. So I think my belief system is that you have the same primary spirit guide or guardian angel in every lifetime from 24/7. And then I've also learned that we have a second guide assigned to us spiritually, or that once, let's say we would choose a second guide before we're born, that would be some sort of animal. So for you, it would definitely be cat.
Actually, it's an otter.
Well, they say we have 9 animal totems. So spirit of cat is all around you.
Okay. Yes, well, everyone knows that.
So, and the animals that guide us, including our pets and our deceased pets, are definitely our spirit guides.
Now, spirit guides are not generally people that we have been involved in that have departed.
Exactly. You can certainly call your deceased relatives your angels, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Many people think Grandma is their angel, and Grandma is their spirit guide for sure, guiding them all the time. But from my studies, angels were not people. And that's why they think we're really, really amazing, because we're the ones who are brave enough to come down and put on these physical bodies and try this world out. And they live in spirit form all the time. And so they stand in awe and reverence of us.
So we've got our 2 main ones, then you talk about the other ones and how do they come in and out of our lives.
So for example, if you need an angel of protection or a guide of protection, you may get a wolf and Michael, or a wolf and Zana, the angel of protection. If you need creativity and inspiration, you may get Gabrielle. So as your needs change, the inner circle of your guides morphs to provide you with whatever support you need.
And if someone is in need of a guide but really hasn't paid attention to their guides, how does that work?
The rule of thumb with working with guides is fake it till you make it. So if you think, well, I'm supposed to have guides, I don't feel them, I don't see them, I don't hear them, I don't even believe they're there, then you just pretend they're there and start asking them to assist you with your goals and aspirations.
Start listening to that voice.
That inner voice. But if you say, okay, guides, Debra says you're there, I really need some support with my self-confidence for an interview or whatever. And their eyes will just pop open and they'll go, oh, she knows we're here. Okay, so even if you're faking it, you're asking them to do something for you and they can leap into action. People find the idea of spirit guides a little weird, but how many stories have we heard where, you know, someone survives a terrible crash, or you know, a mother lifts a car off her child? Like, how do those things happen? And we're seeing more and more stories about guardian angels helping people. Doreen Virtue has daily stories on her Facebook site about this, you know, how angels are affecting people's lives.
And do dreams come into play, or is that something different?
No, you're right. The 2 ways that we can receive our intuitive guidance is through our dream messages and through meditation. And we can talk about meditation a little bit later, but we are definitely getting messages in our dreams. Dreams are symbolic and they're hard to understand, but if
hard to remember.
They're hard to remember because certainly you're in a different realm when you're experiencing the dream. But if you can work with your dreams are like a message from your higher self. And so your teachings come through your dreams, especially between 3 and 5 in the morning. You're getting these teaching dreams. And your guides and your higher self are providing those dreams for you.
And if you have a dream that is recurring, is that even more significant?
The dream that's recurring is a message you're not getting, and as soon as you get the message, the dream will go away. I have to say though, if you're dreaming repeatedly about an actual trauma, it's not a dream message, it's PTSD and you need to see a counselor, right?
It's actually something that's happened to you
Yes.
that is coming into your dreams.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you're just reliving your car crash over and over again in your dreams, that's not a dream message.
No.
It is a sign of the post-traumatic stress.
Sign that
Very-
obviously what happened is still troubling you a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So dreams can be different things depending on what is coming through. Now, dreams, meditation, guided visualization, angel cards. What else? Am I missing something?
Oh, I do past life recall for people. So if you're having an issue, for example, you're always having issues with your bosses, we can go into the past life memory in your cells and see where this issue of authority came, and we can clear it. And then things should go smoother with your boss. So past life is a really good way to go if you're really stuck on something.
Something that you don't really understand why it's happening.
Why is this happening over and over to me?
Okay.
Some people come to me for soulmate readings. They would like to know, under what circumstances will they meet that most compatible romantic soulmate. That's a really exciting reading. Very often I'll get quite specific details. And the bottom line is always, when you raise your joy factor, when you are really singing through life, that's when this perfect person will come along. And
you mentioned when we spoke earlier that a true soulmate isn't always a romantic person.
exactly.
I found that very interesting.
Soulmates are people that we've traveled with before, and we travel in pods called soul families. So if you take all the significant people in your life, mom, dad, husband, and best friend, best teacher, you've traveled with them before in different roles. It's like being on a dramatic cast and changing roles each time.
Does it mean you don't get away from some people?
No, it means when you get the lesson, the annoying ones go away.
Okay.
So your best friend is a soulmate.
Yes.
And your partner is a soulmate. But most people use the word soulmate to refer to most compatible romantic soulmate. And a lot of people are looking for that.
And what you're saying, we often have best friends that don't live in the same city, but that person is a person you always connect with.
Oh, certainly. And you know there are people that you haven't seen in 10 years, and if you saw them tomorrow, it would be exactly where you were, because you've had other lifetimes together, and you carry deep, deep, ancient experience together.
And you are going to do a mini reading for me today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you were saying that normally a reading takes about 2 hours, and of course we don't have 2 hours, but...
I sometimes, for the Mind, Body, Spirit Fair, will do 30-minute readings. A 30-minute reading, it's fun, and you do get real information. However, it's just a tease. For example, if the mediumship card showed up and I said, the energy of your grandmother's here, but we don't have any time to talk to her, that would be very, very disappointing.
Yes, it would.
So we're going to set our intention that we receive the information you need today that we can do in a mini reading.
And while we spoke before this show, you didn't do a reading on me because we thought it's going to be fresh and...
Mm-hmm. No, we haven't done one yet.
No, so it's going to be, it's quite exciting.
There's 44 cards in this deck, and each card has an angel's name, a picture, and a message. And if you were using these cards by yourself, you would shuffle them up in the morning, say, what do I need to know most? Pick any one, and it would be exactly what you need to know. This is the new job card.
Oh, okay.
We won't use that unless it shows up again. And then there's a little...
never know.
There's a little guidebook, and you would read the card, you'd read the guidebook, and that's all you'd need for the day. Pretty soon you start going, oh, I know what this means, and you start using it intuitively.
I was going to say, too, there must be the obvious, what the guidebook tells you and the card tells you, but you must have a deeper understanding if you've done 800 readings with the cards.
This is the original deck I had, and I've established such a relationship with these 44 guides, and So there's about 5 layers of meaning in every card. So there's one card about spiritually gifted children, and it's come to be the grandparent card for me, because it comes to alert a person that they either have or are about to have a very intuitive grandchild. And so basically, you'll be a spiritual advocate. You need to rise to the challenge.
Right.
So yes, each card has many layers of meaning, and it's very, I have never ever found that you receive the wrong card. We could throw them on the floor, pick a few, you'd have the right cards. Even if the card said something like new job and you're not planning to get a new job, it is the right card, and we would get to the true essence of it. So as we shuffle, we would say the purest information from the purest source. We always set the intention. I want love and light here, the purest information, the purest source. What does Sallie need to know most at this time? And then we will just pull 3 cards for you. This is the card I just told you about. I'm getting shivers, okay. This card, Opal, is the spiritually gifted child card, which has come to mean that there's a child in your life that is intuitive, and you may be a resource. This card basically says your children on earth and in heaven are well cared for by the angels. So do you have children?
I have a stepdaughter, but I don't have children.
Okay. And your children on earth and in heaven are well cared for by the angels. And Opal comes to say there's an intuitive child in your life. So this child may very well be under 23 years of age. Do you have a child that you're aware of who seems to have some extra spidey senses?
I can't think of any offhand,
okay.
You know, because it wouldn't be in my immediate family. So if it were, it would be a child of a friend kind of thing. But
Opal also could indicate that when you were a child, you had very psychic and spiritual experiences that would change the way you view the world. Was there any event in your childhood that has stuck with you and was maybe a bit out there?
We were talking earlier, I don't know, but I used to fly in my dreams as a child.
Right.
Yes, we were talking about that. And I lost the ability to fly in my early 20s, and I missed it. So I don't know. I was a normal kid, but I was weird. Looking back, I was kind of a geeky kid.
Well, you know, I know. Opal often refers to the waves of volunteers that have been coming to the planet. So on a spirit level, you could volunteer to come down here and play a certain role. For example, you could, on a spirit level, you could plan a life where you, I'm going to go and make a difference for the cats of the world, okay? Or I'm going to go down and invent an ambient energy source, which is a direct quote from a 3-year-old child I taught.
My goodness.
So often we will volunteer for these missions as on a spirit level. After World War II, there was a wave of volunteers, and we came to just hold more light. The world was a dark place at that time. Many people were asking for help in many languages, many faith systems, many countries. Bring us some help down here. And so help came. And people came who just were more positive, they spread more love and light, and they held the light. They anchored new light for this planet. And then about 45 years ago, another wave of volunteers came, and we call them the Indigo Children. And then 23 years ago, the wave of Crystal Children came. And that's why I wondered if you had a crystal child in your life. Now, these young children, the indigos came with a real pushing against energy. The crystal children came with a flowing, healing, peaceful energy. The indigos would have been the children who thought school was BS and these rules are dumb and the corporations are stupid and
Rebels.
Yeah, okay. So the hippies were the early version of that indigo child, and then 45 years ago, these indigos came to basically deconstruct systems that weren't working. The crystal children came to construct a new reality. So let's leave Opal for 1 minute because I feel certain that I'm just getting goosebumps. I feel certain that you play a role with these 3 waves of volunteers, and we'll talk about that more in a minute.
I'll just say while you're talking about that, a name popped into my mind. His name is Eddie, and I think he's about 23, 24, and he was bicycling across Canada with a group 2 summers ago, and they stayed at our place for a week. And Eddie and I still communicate. We write letters to each other about twice a year, and one of my cats is named after him. So,
Right on.
So who knows?
So Eddie could be a soulmate, but he also could be an advocate for
He's an amazing young man.
These gifted young people. Yeah. Right on. So you actually have firsthand experience with one of these amazing spirits. These children, when they were babies, they could crawl across and touch Grandpa's leg and it would feel better. You know, they're just so amazing. But life can be very hard for these children because they're sensitives. Many of them are empathic to a fault. They'll get a headache if you have a headache. If there's an earthquake in Haiti, they'll be grieving for 3 or 4 days and not know why. So anything we can do to help them understand that these are spiritual gifts and not sensory deficits is very, very helpful. It makes us spiritual advocates. But you and I are from the first wave of volunteers, Sally. And so we came through with our different ideas in a time when the world wasn't really open to different ideas. So that made it difficult to be who we were.
That's a fair comment.
The indigos came when they didn't care what anyone thought they were going to push anyway. These young crystals came at a time when the world was opening up and was waking up, but they're so sensitive. These are the children who are young adults now, who can't tolerate environmental contaminants in the home, such as chemical air fresheners and laundry chemicals. They have certain food sensitivities, and people may think they're so fussy. But they are the canaries in the coal mine. These amazing young children are showing us that we need to have a cleaner environment, cleaner food, and cleaner households. So yes, my crown is opening. It's really starting to tingle, and I'm getting goosebumps. So there's a really big role for you there. And if we don't get back to it today, let's talk about that another day. Athena is your second card, and Athena is the goddess Sallie.
Goddess of wisdom.
Yeah, the goddess, yes. Athena is you standing in your power and speaking your truth. Now,
I like that.
Yeah, well, that's really the role you play in your mainstream job, isn't it? To stand up and get at the truth.
Many ways, yes.
And so Athena says you know how to be powerful without being too pushy. And Athena,
not everyone would agree, but
sometimes in your job you need to be a bit pushy. But this is the divine feminine power. This is the you that knows what she wants and goes for it. The you that emanates light. And I think I'm getting a real connection between these two cards. We're going to go on to the next one. I'm going to yawn because when I get these intuitive hits, I get this yawning going on.
If I can, before I went to law school in my mid-30s. Before I went to law school, I wanted a voice. I wanted power. I've been a feminist without knowing what the word is right from a young child, because I wanted to see change. And a lot of people I found didn't take me seriously because I was a woman, because I had big fuzzy blonde hair. And I wouldn't have put it in those words, but it's almost like Athena guided me at that point.
I think that's really astute. And Athena is the Sallie in you that wants to be heard, wants to be honored for her wisdom, and Athena could actually be the feminist card. But I want to make a fine distinction. Back in the days of women's lib, there was a push against energy. Feminism was sometimes push against and sometimes flow with. Modern feminism is flow with.
Yes.
We don't need to fight anyone. No one else is bad or wrong. We just need to flow with the feminine attributes of life, which are intuition, nurturing, and that sort of soft wisdom. Where feminism has taken us is to a place where women started waking up en masse in 2003. It was like light bulbs coming on all over the planet. And there's certainly a lot of awakening men, Sallie. I don't mean to say there's not, but women woke up. A lot of women woke up sooner, first. And that was to basically blanket the planet in this divine feminine energy so that when the men wanted to wake up, and when I say wake up, I mean spiritually enlighten, start that spiritual enlightenment process, they could land in this milieu of it's safe to wake up. So we have paved the way for enlightenment. That's a beautiful card for feminism. Let's go to card number 3. These two feel life purpose to me, and this one is very personal. So Teresa says, time out. You're so busy taking care of everyone else. It's time to take a little break and do super extreme self-care. Now, do you know anyone named Teresa, first of all?
No.
Okay. So Teresa's talking
I hope I don't, because someone's going to come up with, no, I don't. Sorry.
You could have mentioned me on TV, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Teresa's about extreme self-care. Now, it's not, so basically it's like have a massage, It's not, there's a much deeper meaning to this card. And this is, what does Sallie need to move forward with her life purpose and life passion? What are Sallie's inner gifts? Let's get Sallie to open these inner gifts and use them in service of humanity. So we know that one of your gifts is compassion and your connection to the cat world. And you are using that gift. But what about the other gifts under your Christmas tree that you haven't opened yet, right?
It's only so much time.
There you go. This is the card about taking time for yourself. So how can you, in every day, put yourself first? And if you've been saying, you know, I'd really like to walk down that trail and see if the lady slippers are there, right? And take that time to do it. It doesn't have to be 2 hours a day of meditating and yoga, and you know, it's like
Just taking a little bit of time and making sure it's for yourself.
for yourself, because as you do that, you go more and more inward. I don't mean you become withdrawn. You access more and more of your inner wisdom, and it's the inner wisdom that's saying, Sallie, it's time to take a right-angled turn in your path. So you've been going along with this mainstream job, the cat passion, the other things that keep you busy. It's time to take note of something brand new and make a shift. It's also time to ensure that your passions aren't running you ragged. Okay? I know the time you put into the cat shelter is phenomenal.
I don't feel that now. There has been a time where I was overcommitted. And I'm one of these people who don't realize they're overcommitted till they're overcommitted. But I've learned when that happens to pull back.
That's what we call superwoman syndrome, where we did it because we could do it. We could keep all those balls in the air. And then when you stop and ask yourself, what am I doing? Why do I need to be this busy? So this feels like, so do you have a daily practice where you sit and reflect or go inward? Meditation, prayer, Tai Chi?
No.
Do you have a natural form of meditation? So some people will crochet, some people will swim lengths, some people will jog, some people go for a drive.
Driving or walking, I would say.
I think everyone has a natural form of meditation. So let's say you're going to go for a walk, and assuming this walk is by yourself, you set an intention before your walk. When I'm done this walk, I'm going to understand what to do about that situation at work. Then you go for a walk and don't think about that situation at work. And when you come back from your walk, you expect the answer to show up in the next few days. You don't force it. You detach from the outcome and just let it show up. So that's a natural form of meditation. But any extreme self-care regime includes some form of meditation. And some people say, but I can't sit still. I hate to sit still, and I can't calm my monkey mind. Meditation, and this is going to sound counterintuitive, meditation doesn't have to be stillness. We can go fast to get slow. Like the people who do extreme sports, they get that euphoric burst and then they get clarity after.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for example, an athlete who's going to go for a really energetic run may have clarity after that run. So we don't have to sit still to go inward, but we need to go inward.
Okay.
So find your way to go inward.
I was going to say, we were canoeing a couple of weekends ago. We're going this weekend if it doesn't snow.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and I would say I'd find that canoeing or kayaking quite meditative.
Yes. Anything with water. Water is the element of emotion. Water is also a crystalline structure, so when you freeze it, it becomes snowflakes and ice, right? It's very crystalline, and it's a very high vibrational frequency to be around water. And when you're actually consciously around water, so you're not canoeing and thinking about your grocery list, you're consciously around water, you are accessing that inner wisdom within you. So the reason you're getting this reading is there's something that wants to be hatched. I'm not thinking that it's actually a rebirth of Sallie. I think it's a project that really wants to be hatched. I'm getting the image of a forgotten egg in the nest. So this little egg has been kept warm but ignored. And when we put these three cards together, the three waves of volunteers and the crystal children, your goddess Athena self, and this inner time for yourself, it feels very much like a key that's about to unlock a door for you. It feels very, very exciting to me. And it may be something that you've always dreamed of. For example, I wish I could help the children, those poor children in the place where I vacation. It could be something like that. It could be, I wish I could write a book on this topic. But it could be something you never imagined, such as being a spiritual advocate for these amazing children. I can guarantee that many of your clients have been indigo and crystal children. Did you know that indigo children were very highly represented in the juvenile system, court system, indigo children?
That makes sense. They're trying to break rules.
They break rules. They push against, but also they're very, very struggling to find balance and harmony in the world. And until December 2012, we lived in a pretty unstable world. People would say, well, Debra, just turn the TV on, we still do. But in fact, we did make a major shift December 21st, 2012. The Mayans predicted it. We moved from the third dimensional understanding and reality of duality, right, wrong, good, bad, black, white. We moved into a happier state of consciousness we collectively did that with our hearts and our minds. So we actually live in a more enlightened world now. And it's easier for sensitive children and young adults to be in a more harmonious world. But there's still residual evidence of our old world of corruption, war, and greed. We'll see that deconstructing, and what we're seeing around us now is the construction of a new reality. This is what these children have come to usher in, including you and I, as the first wave of volunteers.
Okay. So when you're saying that there's a key, do I just let it happen now?
You have the key. You already have the key. You go inward to find it. So if I were you and I had a reading like this, I would go into stillness. I would imagine a doorway, a locked, closed doorway. I would take the key out of my heart. I would open the doorway and walk through.
Okay.
And just walking through can open this energy for you, whether you perceive anything on the other side of the doorway or not. And I would hold space in your heart for this new project, because it really wants to be birthed.
Sounds exciting. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I know we're running a little longer than half an hour, but I think that's all right. Just before we leave, I do want you to talk a bit about meditation.
And guided visualization.
Yeah, just briefly.
Okay,
Yep.
so meditation is stilling the mind. Guided visualization is putting beautiful images in the mind to still the mind. So there's a slight difference. So meditation is more mindfulness and blank mind. Guided visualization is what I teach. So I will say, imagine you're on a beach. Imagine you're on a magic carpet going over the world to see what people of the world need. Meditation and guided visualization, I use the terms interchangeably, hold so many benefits for us with our mind, body, spirit, and emotions. All of these scary indicators like blood pressure, cholesterol, they all go down when you meditate. All the cool things like joy factor, memory, relationship, happiness, all go up when you meditate. There's reams of evidence that meditation is so meaningful.
Mindful meditation is becoming talked about more and more.
Yes.
I know in Winnipeg, if you go to the cancer clinic there, they
They're
provide
using it.
you programs from that. I know Community Programs Office, mindful.
Yes, Sandy Paul's doing mindfulness in Kenora, and I've had some of those students come into guided visualization, and at first they'll find it a little different because they're used to having nothing in their mind, and I'm putting something in their mind. And sometimes people would prefer one or the other. However, students who work with me find that this guided visualization process is so dynamic. After we do a guided visualization or a meditation, we go around and share, how did that work for you? And the teachings and the wisdom that come out of the sharing circle is phenomenal. There's only two ways to access your inner knowing. It's going inward with meditation or analyzing your dreams, unless you carry a psychic in your pocket.
It's difficult. But you're saying all of us should take time to do some sort of meditation.
I'm saying all of us do some form of natural meditation already.
Yes.
Some people get their best ideas when their hands are in the dishpan, because their hands are in water and they go, oh yeah, I was going to do that.
Or doing something that you don't have to think about
That's
doing,
right.
and you let your mind.
That's right. And that's why driving, you never meditate when you drive and never listen to a meditation CD when you drive. However, when you're driving, your body and mind is engaged and your spirit can play, and that's why it's meditative.
I've had that happen quite a few times, and hopefully on empty roads, but very enjoyable. Well, Debra, thank you very much. This has been quite fascinating.
You're welcome.
And I really feel we've just scratched the surface.
We have
of it,
just scratched the surface.
But it's a good introduction.
You always get the cards you need.
You always get the card you need. Thank you for joining us with Sitting with Sallie, and I hope you enjoyed my reading as much as I did.
Thank you, Sallie. Blessings.